All right, welcome back to another episode of Lions Avenue, where our Detroit Lions are fresh off of a hot demolishing of the Denver Broncos 2 days ago, Saturday night. Another prime time, big time performance by our Detroit Lions, 42-17 over the Denver Broncos, who also, at that point in time, and still, were fighting for their playoff lives, but we managed to walk into Ford Field and step right on the throats of the Denver Broncos. So, Shanti, this was a game that you and I both felt good about heading into it. A few days prior to the game, when we spoke about it, we both felt that this team would win the game. Now, to the degree that they won it, that's more so your realm. You kind of called the blowout. I didn't think they were going to blow them out. I thought it would be a one possession game, considering how talented the Denver Broncos are on offense, at least when it comes to some of the ancillary pieces. That team is still missing some offensive line help as well as defensive line help. That's one point that I did make prior to the game, that I felt Detroit was better at the line of scrimmage. And usually when a team is better at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football, the other team has no shot. I just didn't think they were going to blow Denver out the way they did, but they dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. Granted, defensively, they only had 2 sacks, but they created pressure all day on Russell Wilson. They kept Russ thrown off balance and constantly scrambling. There were no downfield drills, bombs to Cortland Sutton on any broken plays or Jerry Judy. They had the longest play of the game for Denver was 40 yards. The longest pass play of the game was 40 yards. And they did an overall solid job, I felt, of putting a stranglehold on that Denver Broncos offense. So, Ashanti, you the one that called it. You felt you had a hunch that they were going to go in the Ford Field. This team was due, and that they would blow Denver out of the water. How did it happen?
Yeah. You when you look at it, to me, I'm looking at it like, okay, this the same team, man, that gave up 70 points. Number one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they did, yeah, they far from that team, obviously, you know what I'm saying, because they have played way better since they gave up the 70 burger to Miami. But I'm still thinking to myself, like, all the Lions have to do is really use the same game plan the Dolphins did. You know what I'm saying? Run the ball with Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery, which is our bread and butter. But that's just like you said, when the offensive line, when those guys are together, when we have our offensive line, we undefeated this year. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it's a fluke. I think that's the one part of our game where you can't make it up. You can't, it's not smoke and mirrors. You can't hide it. You can't do anything like that's not going to be noticeable. I mean, it blows off the screen. I mean, other teams, other commentators see it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're just saying it and it's not true or anything like that. I mean, you can see the offensive line controls the game. You know what I'm saying? And Ragnow, Jonah Jackson, Taylor Decker, Graham Glasgow, Penny Sewell. I mean, those guys are real, Walt. I mean, that's the one thing where I think it makes our team like not mediocre. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think that they're just as good as the Eagles' offensive line. I think they're just as good as San Fran's in that area. You know what I'm saying? I think that that's the big difference. I think we can overpower teams. And the Broncos, hey, listen, they got, I like Jonathan Cooper, Browning. They got some good players, you know what I mean? They really do on defense, but I think it's just a matter of the defense as well. I think on the other side of the ball, I think set the tone, you know what I mean, for the game. From the word go, you know what I mean, they came out, was ready to play. I didn't like the first three drives, in and out. We kind of was trading punts, trading field position, that type of thing. I still didn't like that. It's almost like, we have to get off to a good start. It's almost like we're always like forcing it, and we can't start out like the first drive doing what we want to do. But having said all that, I mean, I think that just the Lions were smart. They used the same carbon copy I think that the Dolphins did. I think they said, listen, we're going to run the ball. Jahmyr Gibbs is a good option. How good is Jahmyr Gibbs been? I mean, I just the number 12 pick is justified, man, in my opinion. People get, Brad Holmes, for everybody that wants to bash him and say, the defensive line's not been, taken care of like it should be. Listen, he got the best. I think he got the better of the running backs, in my opinion. I mean, Bijan Robinson was more decorated coming out of college, but listen, we got the better back, at least for right now. You could say that. Hey, I'm very impressed with Jahmyr Gibbs, man. I think he's an
Yeah.
X factor. I think
I think
that's the
he's in a
guy
better
that,
situation right now too than Bijan.
yeah, hell
I
yeah.
think him and Bijan going back to last season, you and I both talked about. We didn't angrily disagree about it, but you felt, Bijan was the better back. I felt Jahmyr. I just like Jahmyr's versatility a little
Yeah, you
better, even
did.
though Bijan is versatile as
Yep.
hell as well. I just like there was something about,
Mhm.
when it comes to running backs, guys can be kind of even killed talent wise, but you can just from a eye test
Yeah.
like a certain guy a little bit more. Um, I wouldn't find it hard pressed to say that if Bijan was over here instead of Jahmyr, Bijan would be eaten too. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
but because I
This
think those
offensive
guys
line,
are
I
like
think you
one
can
and
say
one
that.
A. I think they both are like very very talented running backs. So Bijan is like a little bit closer to what Montgomery is. So I kind of
Hmm.
understand why they took Jahmyr. They felt like Jim was a better fit for them because he's the complete contrast to what Montgomery is.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and setting the tone. Like, they got on track. I think the first touchdown we scored, um, Goff on a good play call by Ben Johnson. And this was something I was worried about moving forward, Walt, is the red zone offense for the Lions. I mean, and it was working, man. That first touchdown, remember Laporta, it was a little 7, 8 yard out. I mean, they kind of disguised the hell out of the play. It was real good because it was sort of like he was on the line and then he sprinted the other way. And it was sort of like everybody forgot about him, and he found a soft spot like Sam's been doing all year and scored. You know what I'm saying? I like the play. I think that set the tone. And then when the Lions score first, I think you can get your feet up under you if we could dictate the play of the game. You know what I'm saying? Walt, when we're up 7-0, it seems like that's how we're gonna have a good game. You know what I'm saying? When immediately if we give up a touchdown, it's almost like we were playing desperate from the start. You know what I'm saying? In the games we've lost. So it was a good feeling to see us score first, and then we kind of pinned our heels back and went downhill. I think going downhill on defense. We was in attack mode, man. I just love what I seen on defense, man. Josh Pascal was great. Miller was fantastic. I can't believe where the heck's Miller been? He just can't stay. Even Dan Campbell said as much. They know he's got the physical ability to be physical, to beat his guy every time. It's just he's not available. He's always hurt. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully it's a good sign to see Melifonwu, in the plans, moving forward. And well, let's start this go. Let's talk about AG. I mean, I think for every time the Lions give up, they lose, lost Chicago, lost to Green Bay. You see fire Aaron Glenn, fired, he doesn't know what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. I'm
Oh, well,
tired of
listen,
hearing
you
it.
you ain't heard a damn thing about him the last 2 days. That's not a
Uh,
coincidence. Like that.
mhm.
That's what they do though. That's what they
Yeah.
do. When the defense is terrible, they can't wait to break out the bucket of tar and the feathers and get them together. When the defense
Mhm.
performs well, though, you don't hear a damn thing from them.
Yeah, yeah. And then give him credit. Listen, you know how much credit he deserves to put Miller. I mean, this is a game we gotta win, basically.
He's
You know what I'm
trying.
saying?
You brought that up in the
He's
pre-show.
trying everything.
He trying.
Right. Trying everything. And I understand. I knew somebody's gonna say with golf. We're gonna get I trust me, I'm gonna get the golf here before the end of the show. But um I just don't get it. Because he doesn't have like a Jalen Carter at his disposal. He doesn't have like Myles Garrett as his disposal. He doesn't have like but they perform as a unit, okay? And I think when they're on their game, I don't know, like, why is that? Like, why we play like that every five? Like, the last time we played this dominant was against the Raiders, I think.
I think
I
it's
don't know
certain
why that
matchups.
is. That's the $1 million question. You know what I'm saying? Like, why we can't bottle that up, what we just did, and like next week when we play Minnesota, we should smother that team. Like you were saying in the pre-show, that Minnesota should be hell. They scored 3, they won 3-0 against the Raiders a couple weeks ago. I mean, it should be the same thing with us. We shouldn't even let that team score, but we know it won't be like that because Minnesota, hey, they're first of all, they're
Typically,
division
NFL
opponent.
games don't go that way.
Right. They got Justin
So,
Jefferson. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's going to be a tight game. You know that. They're not just going to let the Lions win the division on their field. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a dogfight, which I'm cool with that too, because I want us to be in playoff mode. Now, if we go in there, we talk about before the end of the show, talk about Minnesota next week, but if we go in there and we beat Minnesota handily, I'm sold, because I'm like, this is going to be the toughest W this franchise has ever had to get next week. You know what I'm saying? In a long time.
that or Dallas. We can get to Dallas later. We can get to Dallas. I think
it's just winning.
Yeah.
It's just so much. No, I'm sorry. Well, I was just gonna say it's just so much stuff on the line right now. You know what I'm saying? To win the walk, we about to win the division, bro. I mean, that's something we ain't never said that around these parts. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
that's terrible.
And I think this is the biggest game in the franchise history, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? You got to go with, Barry Sanders, Herman Moore, Chris Spielman, who in the front office, all these guys. You think these Johnny Morton, you think these guys ain't watching this game coming up? They want to see these guys, clinch this. You know what I'm saying? Calvin Johnson. You know what I'm saying? These guys are all out, ready to celebrate these guys, man.
Well, everybody gonna be
So
in the building. I did say I felt like the division prior to the season starting was going to come down to week 18 anyway against Minnesota.
Yes, you did.
It seems only fitting that for this fan base they clinch it at home. Now, don't get me wrong. If they can go to Minnesota and smash Minnesota and clinch the division, I'm all with it. But it just seems only fitting for this fan base to go as long as they've gone without a division title for this team to get over the hump at home. I would like to see it for Dan Campbell's sake, for Brad Holmes' sake, because they've put a lot into this rebuild. This is a regime that you genuinely feel like they care. I mean, don't get me wrong, they don't give a damn about what happened prior to that. I think they care because they know how much the fans care about not having a division title since 91 and not winning the playoff game since 91 and this and that. They understand and can comprehend the magnitude of what's going on for this fan base, because this is who supports them. This team, this fan base goes on the road with them and travels very well. This team showed up, and this fan base showed up and represented this team very well at Baltimore, which was shocking. So to me, it seems only fitting that they would go ahead and clinch it at home. Now, that could possibly mean that they lost at Minnesota and lost at Dallas.
Man. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see that at all. But
because just get back to AG. I mean, it's like then we talked about it. Just he pushed all the right buttons. Okay, we talked about Iffy playing. Isaiah Buggs. I don't know what the hell's going on with Isaiah Buggs. I mean, why he only play like every 3 games, it seems like. But Isaiah, it just seems like every time Buggs is in there, good things happen all the time. You know what I'm saying? In the middle of that scrum, offensively, defensively, dynamic. I think Isaiah Buggs the guy you want to be out there. Even Broderick Martin was out there making plays. That's how you knew it was kind of our night, because he was out there. I see Anzarike, filling some holes out there. You know what I'm saying? But Josh Pascal, I mean, how good does that kid look? I mean, he showed spurts 2 or 3 times last year. Same thing this year. It's 2 or 3 times where you're like, man, where the hell was that? You know what I'm saying? Where the hell has it been with Josh Pascal? But I just think that, AG pushed all the right buttons. And I just think he deserves some credit, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think he's got top tier talent. Okay, defensively, you know what I'm saying. The decision to bench Jerry Jacobs and Tracy Walker. I know you mentioned Tracy Walker in the pre-show. I just think that took a lot of stones to do that. You know what I'm saying? To tell these guys, hey, you're a part of this organization moving forward, but for right now, we gonna try something new. You know what I'm saying? That takes a lot of players. We dealing with grown men here. So if a decision, if somebody lose their job or get sat out, you know what I'm saying? That's a big deal for them. Remember Isaiah Buggs, he was on social media like, man, this is, whatever. I'm a team guy. I don't like the decision, but you know what? I'm gonna still be a professional. And when when my name gets called, hey, I'm gonna be ready. You know what I'm saying? And I think that look at Melifonwu could have been pouting. He could have been like, man, F this coaching staff. I ain't starting. I ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? But hey, he respect AG enough when his name gets called. He goes out there and performs like a guy that's just that it just seemed like he was the missing piece or something. It was just weird, and then you hear Chauncey Gardner coming back here. He may not be ready for the next game, but I think that, he may play in the Dallas game, which I think would be huge. He's familiar with the Cowboys. So what's up, A-Dub? It's almost just a situation where I just think AG did it. They did everything. Game plan was on point on both sides of the ball, man. Yeah, I like what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? I like the blitzing. Like I said, somebody mentioned, the blitzes up there. I think A-Dub mentioned blitzing up the middle. I like the different just play downhill, pin your ears back. And they knew they had Russ on the ropes. In the first quarter, they had him on the ropes. You know what I'm saying? Where he was like, didn't know. Look at Sean Payton. I told you, Sean Payton would have body slammed Russell Wilson, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as a grown man out there, and you sitting there yelling at him like you're in high school. I think that was kind of excessive, but they was frustrated. They couldn't do what they wanted to do. Lions took them right out of it. So I agree. I want to see more of it. I think the home field advantage is a total advantage for us. Whoever steps through those turnstiles, visiting team in the playoffs, you got to deal with the Lions fans too. You know what I'm saying? And that energy that's going to be in that building, Walt, I think that the Lions got a clear advantage in the playoffs. So that's one thing I'm just saying. I just wanted to give AG some flowers. You know what I'm saying? Because he constantly gets like, people want to fire him and stuff like that. I just think that he pushed all the right buttons. You know what I'm saying?
All right. I couldn't agree more. Now, how did he do it? I want to go to some quick stats on how things transpire, at least defensively. As usual for us, when we have success defensively, which isn't that often, but when we do have success defensively, you got to go strictly to how we handle the running game. You look at Denver. Denver's been struggling to get the run game going all season anyway, mainly because they've been so bad at the line of scrimmage when it comes to run blocking as well as pass blocking. But you look at Samaj P. Ryan, 6 carries, 37 yards. Javonte Williams, 12 carries, 27 yards. Marvin Mims had an end around for 11 yards. Russ ran the ball 7 times for only 6 yards. They had the longest run of the day for them. What the longest run of the night for them was 12 yards. So we were able to completely shut down the run game. You get to the fact that we were able to get home. We only got home twice. So even outside of the sacks, the fact is they were able to keep Russ thrown off of balance, off the platform all night. Russ was 18 to 32, 223, only averaged 7 yards per attempt. His longest play of the game was 40 yards, that one play to Judy. After that, everything was pretty much dead in the water. And then if you go to the wide receivers for them, the guys we mentioned prior to the game, Cortland Sutton was the main guy we mentioned, was hot, had been on the hot streak the past few games. 5 catches, 71 yards. He had a 23-yard catch. Jerry Judy, 3 for 74. He had that 40-yard catch. After that, nothing else was really popping for them. So, as usual, it ain't just us. I think it's with almost any defense in the league. If you can control the line of scrimmage, if you can shut down the opposing team's run game, make them one-dimensional, take away the splash plays, you can beat damn near any football team. And I don't want to take away from what we were able to do offensively or defensively, but I mentioned this prior to the game, man. The main reason I felt we would beat Denver was because we were better than Denver on both sides of the line of scrimmage,
Yes.
defensively, offensively. And if you're better than a team on both sides of the line of scrimmage, typically you will win that game. Offensively, they did what they do. Everything with this team, whether it's offensively or defensively, starts with a running game. Defensively, if we can shut down the opposing team's run game, that makes our pass defense a whole lot better. Offensively, if you allow Detroit to come out and punch you in the mouth and establish the run early, it's going to be a long day for you. So what do we get? 185 yards on the day on the ground?
Yep.
It's going to be hard beating any football team giving up 185 on the ground, which completely opened up everything else for this team offensively. I felt, and this may sound a little cliche, but to me, they looked like they were healthy. They looked like they were full of a lot more energy, and they looked faster. They didn't look as tired as they looked the previous 3 games. And I compared this game here with us and them similar to what the Carolina game was last year. I felt like, and I'm not making any excuses for Denver because I'm giving Denver the same kind of get out of jail free card I gave us a year ago. I felt like we had started so poorly that season and we had exerted so much energy. We knew after the Miami Dolphins game, we pretty much knew last year that we had to damn near run the table. It is very, very difficult for any team to win 7 straight games in the NFL, 8 straight games, 9 straight games. We knew that team was due for a stinker. And that stinker came at Carolina. We ran out of gas. That's exactly what I told you, what I felt it was last year. We had ran through the Jets and the Giants and all those teams post Thanksgiving game after we lost to Buffalo. We had exerted so much energy trying to run the table that we went to Carolina and got ambushed. And I kind of feel like that's what happened to Denver. Denver had won 6 out of their last 7.
6 out of 7.
Yeah. And they lost a tough, heartbreaking game to Houston the prior week. I felt like, even though I do believe we're better than Denver, I'm not sure we're 42-17 better than Denver. I think at that point in time, two ships met in the night and collapsed. Crashed into each other. I felt that's really what happened. Denver ran out of gas because when you're a team that started the way they started and giving up 70 points to Miami and this and that, you can't afford to have too many mistakes down the road. They lost a tough game to Houston. This was a must-win for them. Detroit was coming off of 3 poor performances. You playing a Detroit team on the road. It's a night game. To me, everything was mixed into a pot that was a bad brew for them. I really think that's what it was. And they walked into a hornet's nest and got demolished Saturday night. So Denver's still fighting for what it is too. But I think overall, even though we turned in a really good performance, both sides of the line of scrimmage, I think Denver was also pretty poor at the line of scrimmage. And regardless of how much talent I think you have offensively or defensively, if you can't handle us and you allow us to consistently play on your side of the line of scrimmage defensively, offensively, you're allowing our offensive line to push your guys back 4, 5, 6 yards. It don't matter how much talent you got on the perimeter. It don't matter about a Patrick Surtain. It don't matter about a Cortland Sutton or a Jerry Jeudy because the offensive line and the defensive lines can't hold up. So, and then I think Ben Johnson did a great job of creating mismatches. On that first touchdown pass, matter of fact, when they were able to get Sam Laporta matched up on Patrick Surtain. Surtain's a great player, but you're talking about him having to cover a 6'4", 255-pound tight end. So I think they did everything worked Saturday. Everything worked Saturday. It felt a little bit better than the Carolina game earlier in the season because I thought the Carolina game was full of some mishaps also. But this game, this blowout felt a lot more complete than what we had against Carolina earlier in the season.
Excuse me. Roy is right. I see Roy put excuse your partner. He's watching Kenneth Walker right now. He's down. He know me good. That was a damn good run, Roy. I see. Yeah, I think Kenneth Walker just saved the season for Seahawks. Man, they were on the ropes, and he ran one for a touchdown. I always like to
As
see.
long as Kenneth can stay healthy, damn it, he okay.
Yeah, I get it. I get intrigued. Like, I think that's the one thing. Like Jared Goff. I think Roy mentioned Jared Goff earlier. And you know what? And for every time I rip Jared Goff, I gotta give him credit. I mean, he played like we need your quarterback to play, a veteran quarterback in that situation. This team is trying to accomplish some things they haven't done in years, in damn near 30 years. And for him to show up the way he did, it was, what I'm saying? It was, I'm glad Walt put this sustainable performance up excuse me, for this team as a whole. And I think this team is going to go as far as the offense can take them. I think that as long as this offense, and trust me, I'm not naive to the fact that I expect Jared Goff to throw 5 touchdowns and for 278 yards every game. I don't expect that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't expect like 5 turnovers either in one game or 3 turn. You know what I'm saying? Those are the games that we can't win. We have no chance. You know what I'm saying? So that is what has been hindering us the last 3-4 games, the last 6 weeks, where he hasn't played
Yeah,
up to the ability we needed to play. Now, granted, everything worked. The middle was open. Like I said, remember Seattle? I'm sorry,
that's
Seattle.
what I was gonna say. Are you
Green Bay
shocked
took it
that
away.
Denver went out there, Vance Joseph, defense
Hmm.
coordinator for Denver? Are you surprised they went out there and did the complete opposite of what everybody else did the past 4 games? So
I'm
they
not.
left, they consistently funneled everything out to the perimeter, which is weird because we don't attack outside the perimeter. And they consistently tried to funnel everything to the numbers and kept leaving the inside open.
No, because I know the reason why is I think Gibbs opened it up. Well, I think the outside, just like A Chain kind of took advantage of him, Mostert took advantage of him. I think Gibbs did the same thing. I think they got kind of baited into playing how we wanted them to play, and Gibbs, give him credit, he can turn the corner. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the difference to beat that team. You know what I'm saying? Now, if let's just say we'd have had Montgomery trying to ram it in there through the middle, all game. The game plan might have worked on their side sooner or later. But I think, yeah, to answer your question, I just think that the middle was open because, and listen, Jameson Williams, let's be honest, Walt, Jameson Williams got 17 catches this year. You know what I'm saying? And he's starting to come on too a little bit. And the
Yeah.
outside, I think they was kind of worried about getting beat a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference by having Jameson out there, a functionable Jameson Williams. And listen, I'm gonna just say this moving forward. This performance can be sustainable if Jameson Williams, like I said, we've been both saying he's a wild card because teams got a little bit of tape on him now. I think, at first I was saying he can get away with it because teams don't have the tape on him. Like they would have St. Brown a full sample size of 30 plus games to see, what his tendencies are. But right now, I think speed, hey, God given speed, you can't coach that. You know what I'm saying? And I think what I'm saying is he might not be the guy that's going to get the ball on that particular play. But listen, if he can funnel 2 guys away from that middle, you know what I'm saying, and let Laporta allow Laporta to run free, allow Jameer Gibbs to get to the corner with one less extra guy to tackle, that he's got to defend off or stiff arm. It makes a difference, man. You know what I'm saying? All those little nuances of the game, I think, came to play because we know Jonathan Cooper. I love Jonathan Cooper for the Broncos, and kind of took Jonathan Cooper out the game. He a good tackler, he good instinct guy, but it was sort of like he was getting caught. Like he didn't know whether to pursue real hard or kind of stay back. And it was like we had him kind of off balance a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I like what the Lions did there. So, yeah, it's going to be a situation where is the middle going to be open next game? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, I think the blueprint to try to stop Jared Goff from those short passes to clog the middle. And he's going to have to do something else. But I don't know. It could be more the same against Minnesota because I don't know if their linebacking core is that I know they got a decent pass rush, so it could be more the same, but they got a okay secondary. Harrison Smith kind of long in the tooth. It could be a game where Minnesota get done the same way, to be honest with you, because I don't see them being able to stop us either, because I think put it this way, I think Denver Minnesota got a better team than Denver, I think, like defensively, but I think the scheme is different. So it could be a little bit more of the same, man. You know what I'm saying? I think Dallas gonna give them trouble because Dallas plays like from the inside out a little bit. So it's gonna be interesting. I mean, I cannot wait for these last 3 games because it's first of all something on the line. You know what I'm saying? That's number one, and then number two is like I said, Jared Goff is a wild card. Well, it's all like if he's playing like well enough for us to like for other teams to really be concerned that he can't get his ball to his receivers, man, like you said, it's gonna open
It's
up everything,
it's kind of 50-50 because it seems like you only get these performances out of Jared when opposing defenses let them do things. When opposing defenses put forth a conscious effort to not allow him to be comfortable, then he doesn't play
Mhm.
well. And I think that's the epitome of what an elite quarterback is. Elite quarterbacks can do what they need to do or want to do, regardless of what you're trying to do to them defensively. And we've seen too many instances over the past 3 years where if you want to shut down, if you put forth a conscious effort to make sure Jared Goff isn't comfortable, you can beat Detroit.
Mhm.
Or you can beat the
Oh, for
Rams for
sure.
that matter, going back to who he was at the Rams. But if you allow,
For
if
sure.
you're, man, the thing is, if you let Detroit run the ball all over you, if you
Mhm.
allow Detroit to run the ball on first, second, and third down to pick up first downs, and you allow Detroit to have the middle of the field open all day long, and you allow Laporta to do what he wants to do, his bread and butter is those quick outs, those flats, those
Yeah.
deep comebacks. You letting St. Brown work those intermediate routes all day long. If you letting everybody eat like that, of course you're gonna lose because Jared's comfortable.
Mhm.
And that's another thing too. If your defensive line can't create any pressure, it's curtains.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's why I think
Sure.
the Denver matchup, if I get back to the initial question was, do I think it's sustainable or not? We're gonna see. It should be
Yeah.
sustainable against Minnesota, even though defensively Minnesota's played pretty decent. They
Mhm.
just score any damn points.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
still feel the same that the ultimate test is going to be against Dallas. Now, people can laugh at Dallas now if they want to, or they got blew out by the Buffalo Bills. Well, the Buffalo Bills are still a decent football team. So we
Mhm.
can
They
laugh
got
at
pride.
We can laugh at Dallas if you want to now. Fact is, we still got to go play there. On what is it?
Mhm.
Is it New Year's Eve?
December 30th. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Day
Saturday.
before.
Another
Yeah. Day
Saturday
before.
night game. Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever Buffalo did, the Dallas don't have a thing to do with us. We got to
Mhm.
go out there and execute our performance against them. Now, what
Yeah.
I did see in that Buffalo against Dallas don't like to defend the run.
Mhm. And
I
see,
also saw that Michael Parsons don't want to defend the run like that. You can
mhm.
run the ball right at Parsons. You can
Yeah.
run the ball right at that defensive line. And Mozzie Smith, as great of a play, well, great. Let me calm that down.
He's a good
As
player.
as solid of a player as we thought Mozzie was coming out, Mozzie is still having his growing pains within the interior of that defensive line. So
Mhm.
if we proved anything, not us, but if Buffalo proved anything, also saw it in the Arizona game earlier in the season when Dallas was missing a couple offensive linemen, you can run the ball right at Dallas and punch Dallas right in the mouth.
Mhm.
And ain't that what we like to do?
Yeah.
We not
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
out there thinking we're gonna spread Dallas out and just throw the ball on Bland and all that. We don't intend to do that.
No,
Detroit,
no, we're not gonna do that.
we
Nope.
want to fight Dallas.
Slow it
So, and I
down. You
think
could.
I think that's what Cowboy fans need to understand, and fans in general need to understand. We coming to Dallas to fight Dallas. We're not coming to Dallas to get into a pretty sexy game and throw the ball all
No,
over the field. Now,
not gonna win like
if
that.
we can run the ball down Dallas' throat and that starts opening up stuff, That's different because Dallas is a fast track too. So
because
it's gonna be
Dallas.
interesting. It's gonna be interesting. I think it's sustainable against Minnesota. Now, if it's gonna be sustainable against that Dallas Cowboys defense, I don't know. But I do think it's possibly sustainable for at least another week against Minnesota.
Mhm. Yeah, because like Ken just said it to us, he can't put offensive line healthy, and I wanted to say that too. We was talking about it during the pre-show, like the offensive line is what 5-0 when all those guys are together. You know,
Yeah,
Jonah Jackson,
Frank.
Sewell, Frank, Glasgow, 5-0. You know what I'm saying? They lead the league in points scored. They lead the league in rushing yards. You know what I'm saying? It is not by accident. You know what I'm saying? Those guys are as good as they are up front. And I think,
Yeah,
like you said, it's sustainable as long as, man, we can keep the offensive line, because that's the one thing. Like, we getting ahead of ourselves talking about the Cowboys, but I'll just say this: like, the Cowboys they got the biggest point differential in the NFC. I think San Francisco, them in San Francisco, I think Dallas is like plus like 190 on the score column, where they've been blowing teams out, right, by 20
yeah. They they've
points.
been
Like,
they've been blowing out the cupcakes.
right.
And I'm
And what
not
I'm
even trying
saying
to not
is,
even trying to diss them like that
no,
because
no, you
me and
can
you
play
talked
on your
about it.
schedule.
We struggled against our cupcakes for most of the
Hmm.
season on some 20-6 here and there, 26-10. Dallas, when
Hmm.
they got cupcakes, they smashed their cupcakes, which is how you
Yeah.
supposed to handle it. But you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about beating the Giants by a combined 90 points probably.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's Washington, and they did blow out Philly. They did blow
Mm-hmm.
out Philly. But it's looking at some of those tougher games, and they got Miami coming up. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
find out a lot about Dallas against Miami. We don't know what
Yeah.
type of Dallas team we even gonna see in another 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I think you can get the Cowboys. I think we could get them is teams like that. You slow it down. You can slow it down. Yep, their defense going to point to you. You got to just slow the ball down and take the air out of the ball, man.
Yeah,
Period. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would do. I would just try to control the game and run the ball. Now, not that I'm sitting there just turning around and handing the ball off. That's not going to work. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, I would use,
well, they
you
hammered them
know,
though. Josh Allen
yeah,
was a
yeah.
part of the running game too for him yesterday.
Exactly. You see, that's another situation. But yeah, I think that this whole thing, I think that's why I think that we do have a team that's like right there. I mean, if you look at the NFC, it's sustainable because we got two against Minnesota, two winnable games where we both think that Minnesota, we should win both those games. And let's just say worst case
They done
scenario, we
week
lose the
18 though.
yeah,
They
we let's say
done.
we yeah, we'll just say we win two and lose the Cowboys, whatever. Okay, we finished 12-5. Okay. Um, I think, man, that's putting us in upper echelon team. You look at everybody else in the NFC, everybody is either 6-7 or that's it. The whole conference is like 7-7 when you look at it. You
Well,
look
yeah,
at
Seattle got a shot. Seattle got to win tonight to even get to 500.
to even 500 to even stay in the race, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say the Eagles take care of business tonight and beat them like they should, put us in the playoffs. Eagles got 11 wins. Well, right now, as it's saying, they got 10. The Cowboys 10, the Lions 10, San Fran 11. I mean, while we right there with the upper echelon, everybody else, the Vikings, the Rams, the Saints, the Buccaneers, Seahawks 6-6, they all 7-7. All those guys are all mediocre teams. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah,
the Lions are better than all those teams, in my opinion. I think the only interesting matchup that will be real, I think, because Stafford used to play. I think if the Rams played the Lions, man, that would be very interesting. Well, I mean, not
yeah.
saying that I'm scared of the Rams all of a sudden, but it could be a game where the Lions got to tighten up their bootstraps on you know what I'm saying, for this one, because Stafford ain't got nothing to lose. We know he a gunslinger, that type of thing. We'll talk across that bridge when we get to it, but just looking ahead, I mean, how this thing looks like it's going to shake out, because the Lions it looked like we can get anywhere from the third seed. Right now, we locked in number 3. but the Eagles could maybe lose enough. I mean, the Cowboys and Eagles both can lose maybe one more game, maybe. The Lions maybe one more game. So it's not a slam dunk that
Cowboys, what, 10-4?
10-4 right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And they tied with us. And think about it. Let's just say, I don't know. I don't have in front. I don't know who the Cowboys playing Dolphins, right? Next week?
At Miami.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They have Miami. Okay. Man. Oh my goodness. Look at this scenario. Like, let's just say Cowboys lose next week to Miami and we beat Minnesota, right? We can be 11-4, Cowboys 10-5. They're gonna need that next game, right? Yeah. That December 30th game all of a sudden might be for the second seed. You know what I'm saying, in the NFC. So it's gonna be a lot to play for. I think the Lions gonna be forced to stay in playoff mode because I kind of don't want us to wrap it up too early. And I want us to, be in a situation where we could still have something to play for at the end and stay in playoff modes. I think that's good to be like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at this Tracy Walker thing, right?
Well, hold on.
Tracy Walker.
Before we jump to that,
Okay.
I want to answer a couple questions very quick. They've been waiting.
Okay.
Ken Fisher had a question about: do you think Laporta wins Rookie of the Year on his current pace? And also, Jeremy Ballwright chimed in also on that, saying, "I think Offensive Rookie of the Year CJ Stroud to lose." I don't know. I think CJ started really hot. It seems like after that Cincinnati win, he's kind of cooled off. He started throwing some picks. He been beat up a little bit. I know he left he left the game. Was it yesterday with a concussion? Was it?
Mm-hmm.
So he hasn't been that hot as of late. I think if we make the playoffs, and if you look at that Laporta's numbers, Laporta sets the record for most catches in a season by a rookie tight end, most receiving yards in the season by a rookie tight end, most receiving touchdowns in the season by a rookie tight end, and his team wins 11 or 12 games. That has to be better than Stroud, especially if Stroud continues on the same downward spiral, because Houston ain't been playing all that well. They still winning. They won an ugly game yesterday, but they won it without him. So unless the league is that quarterback biased, which the league has proven to you that if a quarterback shows any signs of life, they're going to give him the award. That's just how it is. They make every award the quarterback award almost now. But honestly, I think, and I'm not even trying to be biased about it, man, Laporta team looks better. I think Laporta's had a bigger impact. Well, maybe not. I mean, the impact that he's shown in Houston is obvious that he's the reason, part of the big reason they went in Houston. But you can actually make the argument that Sam Laporta's season by a tight end is something that we've never seen done before. Now, we've seen rookie quarterbacks have really good rookie seasons. We remember the season Andrew Luck had as a rookie, where he turned around a 1-15 team, won 10 games the very season, took the Colts to the playoffs. Now, they lost in the first round to Baltimore. But unless the NFL is just intentionally trying to be quarterback biased, Laporta should win it. Laporta has a shot at cracking 100 catches, which is crazy. I think he's sitting at 78 right now with 3 games left.
71 catches.
Okay, he might not, unless they try to force feed him the ball the last game of the season or something. But we talking about a dude, he probably gonna catch at least 90 balls.
71 catches, 758 yards, 9 touchdowns. That's ridiculous, man.
With 3 games left, there's a good chance our dude gonna catch over 90 balls. He may crack it. Where's his yards at right now?
758.
Okay, he probably won't reach 1,000 yards, but there's a good chance he's gonna catch close to 92, 93 balls. With 3 games left, he's probably gonna get about 11 touchdowns.
13.
And his team is going to win 11 or 12 games.
Yeah, I agree. To an extent, I agree with Jeremy, though. I think that I think the CJ Stroud's gonna win it, man. If he don't look at his stats, man. He don't have a bunch of touchdowns. He got 3,600 yards. Wow, that's ridiculous. That's more than Jared Goff. No, I think he got maybe 100 less than Jared Goff. I think. I don't think a tight end is gonna win. Could ever win that award. To be honest with you.
You think they'll give it to him if they don't make the playoffs? Like, what if Jacksonville win that division? You think they'll still give it to him?
Yeah, oh hell yeah! Right now, I mean they're 8-6. Walt, they right there. You know what I'm saying? I think they won't even have to win another game.
I think that's wrong as hell, man. That's like how y'all feel in the comment section.
Well, I agree with you that it's a quarterback award. I agree with you on that. They'd rather give it to a quarterback. Tight end's not sexy. You know what I'm saying? But if you was to say that, Sam Laporta, first team, pro, all pro tight end, that's saying a lot right there. You put Sam Laporta over Kelsey and some of these other guys at first team, that's a hell of a recognition right there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's another thing. Now, if CJ Stroud don't play another game, you know what I'm saying? Now, he does miss some time, like Ken just said. I do. I mean,
he hasn't
he
been
probably
good
won't
the last
win it,
couple
but
games. That's
he had 20 he got 20 touchdowns, 4 picks. So he's been good though. I really like I like CJ Stroud from the start. I mean, it just trust me, I'm Detroit. I want my guy to win it, but I just think that I don't know. I can't see him giving a tight end offensive rookie of the year, but I'd love to see it. I hope he stays. He may get more than 11 touchdowns. He got 9 right now with 3 to play. I feel like this Minnesota game, he could, against the Vikings, he could get 3 or 4 touchdowns against them in 2 games. So we'll see.
in 2 games or just one matchup?
Yeah. Hey man, it's I love talking about this because you know what, man, it's like Laporta is our guy, right? Laporta is our guy. Now he not on another team. He's our guy. You know what I'm saying? So to have our guy all pro top tight end in the league, man, you like what? And then look at Gibbs. Wow, look at Gibbs has got over 1,000 all-purpose yards. He's got 792 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns. He's got 300 yards receiving and a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs has been great. Him and Sam Laporta, both them guys, man, been great. I mean, you can't. And remember, Gibbs started off slow. Remember, it was like first 4 games of the season. Remember, everybody was like, Gibbs wasn't even worth the pick, or blah 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 blah.
Why ain't getting the touches?
Why he not getting the touches? I mean, man, it's just been good to see. You know what I'm saying? Good to see. Good debate. I mean, I would love to see both our guys in the running for offensive.
I'm just saying, even if I wasn't a Lion fan, I couldn't see whether I was a Bills fan, an Eagles fan, a Bengals fan, whoever. Looking at it objectively, I understand the quarterback is the end all be all position. But unless you just doing something like just never seen before, because let's be honest, it ain't just him in Houston. I think that they made the right hire at coach in DeMeco Ryans. Houston Texans defense has been tremendous all season. They've hit on a lot of picks the last 2 years defensively. Will Anderson is another dude who has really turned it on the second half of the season. He looks great. They got playmakers at every level on defense. They run the ball pretty well. So I don't think it's just him, but it's obvious that when you hit on the quarterback, it brings everything else together.
Everything.
I just couldn't see myself if the Jacksonville, because think about it, Jacksonville still got a shot to win that division. The Colts still in the running.
Well, it's a 3-way tie, right?
They ain't done. Yeah, the Colts ain't dead either right now. So like I couldn't see myself if Houston don't make the playoffs. They got if for me to give it to Stroud, he got to get that team to the playoffs. Because if they finish with 8 wins or 9 wins, and you're looking at an 11 or 12 win Detroit team with a rookie tight end that has put up numbers that you haven't seen since Keith Jackson with the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, if it was that easy for a rookie tight end to come into the league, the learning curve for tight ends in the NFL is so steep, man. And for him to just hit the ground running as a blocker, as a pass protector,
Yeah,
run
he's been
blocking wise.
fantastic. He's been
He's been
fantastic, man.
fantastic, man. You don't see
Mhm.
rookie tight ends have that type of success. So for him to step right in and finish with 9+ touchdowns, 90+ catches, close to 1,000 yards, and his team wins 11 to 12 games. Just me personally.
Mhm.
And I know I'm kind of biased when it comes to me getting sick and tired of seeing every damn award have to go to quarterbacks. The league MVP has to go to a quarterback. Now, offensive rookie of the year has to go to a quarterback too. Like it ain't
Yeah.
fair, man. Let's be honest about it. I don't think they would give it to Stroud if they don't make the playoffs. But I do
What about
believe if he
Gibbs?
gets them to the playoffs and they win that division, they gonna give it to him. They
What
gonna
if
give it to him.
Gibbs catch? What if Gibbs catch fire in these last 3 games?
I
You know what
don't
I'm
think
saying?
he's
And get
been great all
all
season though.
year. That's what's gonna hurt him. Yeah.
Sam been legit all
Yes,
season.
I agree. I thought about that. Yeah. Now Jeremy said, see, he said strike. Whoa. I'll pump the brakes on MVP. I don't know about MVP. You know, I think Lamar Jackson, you know,
I don't
may win
know.
if the I'm just saying if the Ravens stay on the pace that they on, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
think he's got better numbers. Well, listen, the
I think
passing yards.
I think Drew did it with more. I mean, Drew did it with less. If you look at what Stroud has in his rookie year compared to what
Yeah,
Luck
yep.
had, Luck had
McCaffrey.
what? T.Y. Hilton.
Mhm.
Who was the running back? Not Dominic Rose. I forget. Ballard. It was Vic Ballard. Now, if you go back, was it Dwayne Allen? Go back and look at that Colts roster offensively. Think
When
about it,
Luck won it,
Jeremy. I know you on your business. You there. Go back and look at that Colts team from Andrew Luck's rookie year, and look at what he carried to the playoffs compared to what C.J. Stroud has this year, and what he's carrying to the playoffs. I think he had a tougher uphill battle than what Stroud had. And if I can remember Luck's rookie year, Luck was out there beating some good teams. He beat Green Bay that year and Aaron Rodgers. He beat us. He beat Minnesota. Like he was going on the road and was beating some good quality teams, I believe, too. So even though his numbers may have been a little bit better than Luck's, I think Luck had a tougher uphill battle, honestly. But I can't recall who else was in the running at that time. But Jeremy also has another comment. He says if Houston makes the playoffs, D'Amico Ryans gets coach of the year and Stroud might win both of them. He ain't getting them a VIP.
and MVP. I don't think so.
Getting them a VIP. Now he might get
Yeah.
offensive. He probably will get offensive
Yeah.
rookie of the year. I can't even say he doesn't deserve it, considering where that same offense was a year ago under Davis
Yeah.
Mills, and
Yeah.
how Stroud stepped in with the same guy, Nico Collins. He turned Nico Collins into a potential Pro Bowl receiver this year. He took Noah Brown, who was a castaway with Dallas. Noah couldn't get any catches in Dallas. He couldn't get any love in Dallas. He got Noah Brown looking like a viable number 3 option.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tank
CJ Stroud.
Dell was on his
Tank
way to
Dell.
possibly being offensive rookie of the year. Tank Dell went on a hot streak. So I don't know, man. I think
it's gonna be interesting. These
it's a
coming down the
perfect storm
stretch.
with Houston. Yeah, I think it's a perfect
D'Amico
storm with
Ryan.
Houston. They hit
think
the lottery
D'Amico
with the coach and
Ryans.
the quarterback.
I think D'Amico gonna get coach of the year though. Or Dan Campbell probably ain't gonna win it because of D'Amico Ryan. You know what I'm saying? I think for sure he got it locked up, especially if they win that division. But,
Jeremy, Reggie was what, 30? I think Reggie was 33 at that time, or 34. He was a solid veteran and a half, though. He was a solid veteran and a half. I know Drew had
was it
David.
Dallas Clark? Was it Dallas Clark the tight end?
I'm not sure if Dallas was still there. Okay. But I do know he had Davis. He had Davis Allen, the tight end. He had another tight end. Another tight end that didn't turn out to be too much anywhere else. Luck made them dudes, though. He made them. He made them, but yeah, I don't know, man. We did get off track a little bit with that because we'd like to touch on you guys' questions when we get a chance. I want to get Tracy Walker for a second. Everybody in the comment section, you can chime in and let us know what your thoughts is on this. Amazing the difference 2 years can make. This dude got a big deal. Came out against San Francisco first game of the season and got hurt. Wasn't that the Frisco game he got hurt a couple years ago? Tracy?
The first game of the
Or was the
season, yeah.
Philadelphia game?
Yeah. I think it was Philly game. Yep, it was a
Yeah,
Philly
one
game.
of them 2 games he came out.
Last year.
It may have been the second game, may have been the Seattle game, not sure, but either way, Tracy got hurt in one of those games. It seems like he's been on thin ice ever since then. They didn't draft him. Let's be honest about it. I think as a fan base, we love Tracy Walker. Tracy Walker represents another one of those tough guys who fought for his spot. You know, it wasn't nothing handed to Tracy Walker. He overachieved considering where he came from, played very well, but something about his chair with this regime just never sat right with me. It seemed like he never really, they spoke very highly of Tracy Walker in the media, but it seems like when you look at his snap count, ever since he came back from that injury that he suffered, the ACL injury, it just seems like they never welcomed him back to the extent of, okay, you know what, Tracy, you're our guy, you're back. He's been benched pretty much for Ifeatu Melifonwu. Third-year guy we've been waiting to see some top-level play from. A guy coming out of Syracuse who had CB1 traits. You're looking at a guy who's 6'2.5", 210-plus pounds, ran the sub 4.4, had the 39, 40-inch vertical leap, long arms, physical. Typical cover 2 corner you would actually want, or a cover 3 zone corner. For whatever reason or not, just things didn't seem to really work out for him at corner. But we do know this, and you brought this in the pre-show. If ever in the tight squeeze, we know he can play some corner. Better than Will Harris.
Yeah.
So
we're
looking at a guy who's he's a better version of Will Harris. People talk about, well, maybe they like Will because Will provides versatility at safety and corner. That's bullshit. Ifeatu's better. Yeah. And you see Ifeatu has picked up a lot of those snaps since the light went off with him. So he looks bigger now too. He looks a lot more physical. What do you think this means for Tracy Walker's future? Because we know Branch is listed as the nickel. I think they want to bring Chauncey Gardner back.
Yep. I think another week. Yep. I think another week.
I think they want to bring him back next season.
Yeah, next season too. But I'm saying, I would love to have Chauncey Gardner back, and if it may be a situation where Tracy Walker the odd man out. I'm sentimental. Tracy Walker's like the Pudge Rodriguez when the Tigers, he was the one guy that stayed and kind of not stayed, but he kind of came with the Tigers to kind of get the ball rolling when they started to become a good team. I think that's the same thing with Tracy Walker. He stayed along with Taylor Decker. He was one of the few that signed a second contract with the Lions to stay. So it's sentimental. You don't want to see it relegated, but man, I mean, Melifonwu gives us that extra oomph. And it's not like Melifonwu can't, it's like something like, oh, it's just a flash in the pan where he can't. We've seen Melifonwu play corner. I've seen him play. I mean, I'm going to just use myself. Yeah. I've seen him out there cover guys, Devontae Adams. I remember Monday night game when the Lions lost to Green Bay and he covered Devontae Adams and he got like 2 catches or something like that. He's physical. He big, strong. That's what I like. Big, physical at the line of scrimmage. Knock you off your perch, to start the playoff. I like that about him. It's just something the Lions were missing. It just seemed like that he was what they were missing on D. I don't know what it is about his game, but it was like I think everybody noticed it. You know what I'm saying? Number one. Tracy Walker, I think his days he might be playing his last games in Detroit, to be honest with you. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but and he probably ain't thinking that right now. I mean,
they got might be out of here. Oh no, Ken think he might be out of special teams captain.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, I don't know if he would relegate. Maybe he might think in his mind he's still a starter. That's a tough pill to swallow. Like, hey, especially the team that kind of drafted you and relegate you to special teams. I mean, we don't know what he's thinking. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, he can keep his head on straight as far as like not being like in a locker room distraction. You know what I'm saying? If that's the point of him losing his job, because let's be honest, these grown men, they know what's on the line. I think right now, I don't think nobody may be, complaining about anything right now because they see what's ahead of them. Like Dan Campbell's been saying, he goes, we know what we are, and that's the one thing I think that I like. I can say I truly like what Campbell's been doing because he says we know what I know what I have. He always says that to reporters, or we know what we are. He knows they don't have superstar players like that. You know what I'm saying? At other certain positions. You know what I'm saying? And they know they're not a sexy team. They don't have like guys that's gonna high step all the way to the end zone from the 20-yard line. They don't have that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Jameson
But if
might
you
get to
want to
that
do it, they
point.
let you do it.
Yeah. You
This
know what
ain't
I'm
the
saying?
Patriot way.
Right. So, yeah, Tracy Walker's future. Well, I can say this. I don't think that he's a guy. I think they would rather have CJ other than Tracy Walker. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Again, like with Melifonwu, I don't know if Melifonwu was even in their plans. Right now, I think they're going to ride the wave and see where it ends up. You know what I mean?
He's their
I
guy,
think
though. I will say
yeah,
that.
he's their
They
guy
did
because
draft
I
him.
think, yep. But Campbell liked him from the start. Remember, Campbell said at the end of the game, he said, "Dude, we know who he is. We just been waiting for it." You know what I'm saying? So it's sort of like they kind of not lose. They could have easily cut Melifonwu, you know what I'm saying, during the season. I mean, during preseason cuts. Remember, we kind of thought he might have been on the outside looking in anyway, and it
Yeah.
paid off. I mean, it's paying dividends that they didn't cut him and they kept him on the roster and kind of waited it out. So Tracy Walker, his role might diminish Walk coming down the stretch here, but like you said, maybe he stay ready. You know what I'm saying, and hopefully he gets in some different packages, some different formations where he gets some run out there. But I don't think, moving forward, we'll see. Past this season, I don't know, man. I think Tracy Walker might be not here next year.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the versatility Ifiatu Melifonwu provides, it's like I said, the size and athleticism alone. And you're looking at a guy now that can come down in the box if you need him to play in the box. Over the past couple weeks, he's displayed outstanding range on the back end, speed, size wise, being able to get some pass breakups. And also, you look at a situation where, like I said, the versatility. You can line him up on some tight ends come playoff time if you want to, even though Kittle's a handful for anybody. But if you want to line him up on Kittle, you can. You feel better about it. If you want to line him up on whoever the Eagles may have a tight end, or let's say you see an Atlanta Falcons team maybe with a Kyle Pitts, he's athletic enough to go out there and match up with those types of guys. You can do that. If you're in a tight squeeze, if you need to move over in different packages, you want to line him up on the outside against a bigger receiver. Even though AJ Brown's a beast. But let me make this clear. I would feel better about a 6'2", 210-pound Melifonwu who can run and get out there and display some athleticism against A.J. Brown than I do about Jerry Jacobs or Vildor or any of these other dudes or Chase Lucas. So, and I'm going to get to something else in a minute too, because I did want to go to the free agent list and look at some of the corners that are available. Looking at Tracy Walker, like I said, going back to what I initially stated, it just never felt like he was in their long-term plans. Whenever you're a guy that was drafted by the previous regime, you always kind of walking on eggshells, especially when the team starts bringing in guys at your same position. They drafted Ifiatu Melifonwu, a guy who was kind of a fringe corner / safety coming out of Syracuse. They drafted Kirby Joseph later on in the draft. They went out and they signed they drafted a nickelback / strong safety and Brian Branch out of Alabama. Then they went out and they signed Chauncey Gardner. They went out and they signed Chauncey Gardner. So if you're Tracy Walker and you're a guy that was selected by the previous regime, how should you feel about your spot here? Because they're not paying for safeties. Let's be honest about it. Kirby
Mm-hmm.
Joseph, more than likely, they're gonna pay him when it's time to pay him. Brian
Mm-hmm.
Branch, nickelback / safety, he'll be paid.
Mm-hmm.
Ifiatu Melifonwu, this is a guy that they drafted. They've been grooming him the past 2.5 years, 3 years, and they benched Tracy Walker for him. So to me, the writing's kind of on the wall that guy is probably going to be out of here. There's a good
Mm-hmm.
chance Charles Harris will probably officially be out of here this offseason as well. You can find guys, younger guys, cheaper guys that can do the same thing, better players that can do the same thing, provide the same versatility that a guy like Harris supposedly provides.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think it spells a lot for his future. I think he's done here. Just how they treated him over the past couple of years. Not to say that they treated him poorly, but
Mm-hmm.
just looking at the snap counts, the fact brought in different guys at his position, 3 different guys at his position, and he's still a younger guy coming off that injury from a year ago. Is there a chance he could go somewhere else and catch on? It is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's a possibility he could be another Justin Coleman, a guy who
Yeah,
signed a big
from
deal here.
Seattle.
He was
Yeah.
good here. The only problem is they paid him as an outside corner. He was a nickel corner. Matter of fact, it's
Mm-hmm.
funny. He's on the free agent list right now too, Justin Coleman.
Wow,
Um,
he on the street. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Wow.
he's definitely on the street. So
Mm-hmm.
let's get to this last one, man. Straight up, Lions
Mm-hmm.
legit contenders.
Yeah, I think they are. Like I said, now the level of contendership. Just some might argue and say they not for real or whatever. If I had to have, if I had to rate it like between uh 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. I mean, if you're asking me straight up, are the Lions legit contenders? 1 out of 5 is hard. 4. I'm gonna give it a 4. I think that. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4. I think that they are legit, and I'm gonna give reasons why. I think that offensive line legit. I think the offensive line is one of the top. Maybe I'm gonna say Philly's offensive line's better. I think we might have leapfrogged the Cowboys. I think the 49ers are better offensive line. So I think for that reason, they legit. You know what I'm saying? I think we proved that we can score, you know what I'm saying, in bunches. I think that plays a role too, because sometimes if you don't have it defensively, I think you can be a nightmare uh, offensively, and it'll allow you to win some games. In the playoffs, let's be honest, I know defense wins, but Walt, if you can score in the playoff, I'm saying there's nothing like the pressure of having to score. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, Walt? Let's just say the Lions get up 14-0 on somebody. I mean, it's gonna be some problems. You know what I'm saying? For another team to beat the Lions, if we can get a lead and then sit on a rock and run the football, you know what I'm saying, and burn time off the clock. So for that reason, you can absolutely say the Lions are contenders. Now you could laugh and say, that they haven't beaten anybody. You don't believe Jared Goff's good enough, or our defense still gives up, a lot of points, a ton of yards. I've been saying it before. I say it again. Just look at the last couple Super Bowl winning teams. I mean, the defense. Rarely ever you get a juggernaut like the 85 Bears, or even recent, let's just say the 2000 Ravens, or let's just say those Giants teams that was good. That one with Eli Manning had really good defenses. I mean, so yeah. I mean, what if I had? I'm just looking at the NFC right now, and if I had to just around the whole league, the NFC, I think the Lions are top 6 in the league. So for that reason, I'm saying they're a contender. You know what I mean? I think that, other than Philly, San Francisco, Baltimore, If you want to put Miami in front of the Lions, some people was putting Kansas City. I don't know if Kansas City's better than the Lions right now. We got a better quarterback, but I don't know if the team's better. Defense may be better, but the reality is the Lions beat them. So right now we got a better record than the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think the Lions are contenders.
Yeah, I think if you look at Kansas City from a year ago, defense wasn't great. Defense is way better this year than it was last year. But you better be able to game plan, scheme, and put together something to take away the best, but basically to take away the right hand of that opponent. You look at what Kansas City was able to do in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. They were able to run a lot of combination blocks. Remember, the Eagles led the league in sacks a year ago, and they were able to put together the right blocking scheme to completely shut down the Eagles' pass rush in the Super Bowl. They were also able to run the ball on the Eagles. Teams couldn't run the ball on the Eagles a year ago. Come Super Bowl, Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy were able to put together the right scheme to run the ball on them. I think when it comes down to it, regardless of who the guys you got, and the Chiefs also had Chris Jones. Let's be honest about it. They had Chris Jones in the middle of that defense too. But you better be able to put something together. I think come playoff time, and I say this every year, man, you can have a more talented roster and have a disciplined team and win 10, 11, 12 games in the regular season. If you got bad coaching or bad coordinators, you ain't going no damn where in the playoffs. And if you look at, like I said, if you look at what the Chiefs were up against the Eagles, a lot of these statistics heading into the Super Bowl favored the Eagles. But what happened? Andy Reid, probably the best play caller in football. Bieniemy, the defensive coordinator for the not Philadelphia Eagles, defense coordinator for the Chiefs, is Spagnolia. Those are veterans in the game. It's nothing they haven't seen before. They were able to put together the right game plans to neutralize what the Eagles did well. If AG and Ben Johnson can't do that, we don't stand a chance against anybody. That's my whole thing, is that not only do we need our players to up their game come playoff time, we need our coordinators and our head coach to up their games as well. Can you go into the playoffs against Mike McCarthy and them and out-coach them and out-scheme them? Can you go into a situation at Philly, a hostile environment in Frisco, and out-scheme Kyle Shanahan and them and do the things you need to do? At least the things that the top-level teams are able to do. Now, the more I watch Philly, even watching Philly tonight, Philly's struggling, man, at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
That's why I started seeing a chink in the armor. Because I think at the line of scrimmage, if you show any signs of weakness against us, you're in the water. So the more I watch Philly, even though, like I said, Philly got the mobile quarterback, is it possible we could shut down a lot of things with Philly, but Jalen Hurts could run for 120 on us? That's possible. But I look at it for what it is, man. That Eagles offensive line ain't playing all that great lately. Defensively, the Eagles front seven ain't playing all that physical. Frisco exposed some stuff with them. Now, maybe, is it just Frisco? Who knows? Maybe they just was a bad matchup for Frisco in that situation. It's hard to really get a good gauge on these teams because I'm going to give the Eagles the same get out of jail free card I gave us and that I gave Denver for that loss a couple of days ago. Philly had so many emotional big games leading up to that Frisco game. It felt to me like Frisco just caught them at a point in time where Philly gassed out. Because I talked to you about that but after that game.
Yeah.
I don't think Frisco was 23 points better than Philly. I think they just caught them at the right time, and Philly was gassed out. Think about it. They beat the Dolphins. They beat the Buffalo Bills in a tight game against a good team. Of course, they beat Dallas in a tough game. They won some games. They beat the Chiefs on the road at Kansas City, and then they laid an egg against Frisco. So I don't really know how to judge Philly overall, being fair about it, because they beat some damn good teams. Now, did Frisco just catch them off guard and bomb them? That's possible. Frisco also lost 3 games this season. They lost to a damn good defensive team in Cleveland. So I think all of these things about matchups, who's healthiest down the stretch. But like I said, it's looking to me right now, Philly might be a little bit more ripe for the taking than Frisco. And I think they got the kiss to death over there. They got your boy calling plays on defense.
Y'all, Matt Patricia, oh God.
That's hey man, when I found out about that, when they brought that up prior to the game, I was just watching it. I'm like, oh, it's over for y'all boys. Y'all got this man playing the role over there, a key role. Yeah, it might be over for y'all.
Yeah, how could he? That's the Matt Patricia thing. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, maybe you get enough cachet behind closed doors. I guess I don't know. People respect. I don't get the Matt Patricia thing. I don't. You know what I'm saying? It just seemed like I know a lot of coaches get retreaded, and they f up somewhere, and then they go somewhere and they get another job, real quick. And some of these jobs to a point, some of these coaches to a point take up opportunities, I think, for the next best young coach to get a chance. You know what I'm saying? I don't get the Matt Patricia thing. You know what I'm saying? It just confused. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I think your point valid about Philly. I think I'm just always giving those teams. It's funny. We give other teams the benefit of the doubt when they're not playing good, but our own team, we don't. You know what I'm saying? We like when the Lions not playing good, it's like I think because of the history and I think because of the letdowns in seasons past, I think that's why, the Lions can't get on a 3-game losing streak or a 4 or 5-game week basis where they're not playing good. You know what I'm saying? And we question everything they're doing. But we can see Philly, like, remember, San Fran went about 3 weeks where they was looking beatable. You know what I'm saying? Now they back to looking incredible. You know what I'm saying? Again, but, they
injury bug. Let's be honest about it. I'm not hoping this happened. But remember, we talked about the Michael Parsons injury. Well, we thought it might have turned out to be a bigger injury than what it turned out to be. But if McCaffrey goes down, that's a different team.
Yeah.
Let's be honest about it. He's the catalyst for everything. If they don't have C-Mac, that's looking like a different football team, at least offensively.
They got Elijah Mitchell, but he ain't CMC. You know what I'm saying? That thing. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I get what you're saying. You know what I mean? It just, to me, the grand scheme of things, I think, the wild card is you really don't know. You can't be like definitive and say, you know what you're going to get with the Lions week in, week out. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only thing I hang my hat on when you talk about the Lions and you talk about how good they are. Is they got to line up and run the ball every week. At some point they got to run the ball. So we good at doing that. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think if they stick to that, it's hard. It's going to be hard because teams going to shut it down, or you may, really, really have to be patient with the run game. Because sometimes, your initial first drive of the game, you trying to run the ball. And if they stuff the first 2 plays of the game, and you staring at a 3rd and 13, you know what I mean? And then Jared Goff's just trying to get out of there to for field position. You know what I mean? You don't want to do nothing stupid there. You know what I'm saying? And then in weeks past, we get in those long yardage situations and we turn the ball over. You know what I'm saying? So I think if we could play, and sometimes it's okay to get the field position game. I think we did that with Denver, and then we finally tilted the field to where, okay, we got the ball in a good spot, and then and then often the floodgates opened up. I think it's okay to do that. And I think that's the first time. That's another thing we didn't talk about was Dan Campbell. Instead of him gambling and, going for it and,
points,
just,
man. But we don't even know how they feel about the field goal kicker situation right now. That's why I think this is bigger on him. We got a young ass football team. We need him, AG, and Ben Johnson to run this show when we get to the playoffs. Because, like I said, Aiden Hutchinson, Brian Branch, Broderick Martin, Bugs, Kaminsky. Sutton been there before with Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, these dudes don't have any experience. We need it. Well, Dan Campbell doesn't have any head coaching experience in the playoffs. Now, he was on a roster in New Orleans. AG been to some playoff games as well. We need you guys to really man this ship come playoff time. Not saying that you guys got to go to San Francisco or host San Francisco and beat 30-0, but it's going to be interesting to see come playoff time how Dan Campbell manages a playoff game. Because if you get too out of control with all that fourth down shit and leaving points on the board, that's how you end up losing a playoff game 17-16. And you left 9 points on the board because you chose to turn down 3 field goals and you felt like, well, we're playing the Eagles or we're playing San Francisco, so we got to go all out. We got to score touchdowns every possession. You need to, as a head coach, I think that's something great, a trait that we've seen in Andy Reid. We saw it in Bill Parcells. Of course, we saw it in Bill Belichick all those years in New England. Bill Belichick was at gauging the temperature of the game. Bill Belichick never went crazy offensively thinking, well, we're playing Flacco and the Ravens, so we got to score a bunch of points. Or we're playing Big Ben and the Steelers, so we got to score a bunch of points. He was great at gauging the direction of where the game was going. If it was midway second quarter and it was a 10-8 game, a 10-7 game or whatever, Patriots favor or Cowboys favor, whoever it was, not even necessarily Cowboys, but AFC teams, Steelers, Colts, those types of teams, he was great at gauging, okay, you know what? 3 more field goals might win this game. I think as a head coach, it's about valuing points. Head coaches that don't value points in the playoffs end up sending their team home. That's why I said I'm very interested to see how he comes out in his playoff debut. Does he call these games the same as they call them during the regular season? Does he realize, you know what, the game is going in this direction? We may not need 28 points to beat San Francisco or Philly. The game could be going mid-January. The game could be going to the direction of 21-20. And in a 21-20 game, field goals matter. That's my whole thing, is seeing how he handles his very first playoff game as a head coach. So, for me, it's still hard for me to say that this team is legit contenders. Because by legit contenders, I would be saying that I believe they're a legit threat to come out of the NFC. And I still can't say that right now. I want to see how they handle Dallas. My view on this team hasn't changed over the past couple weeks, the past 3 weeks, the past month. I've been saying that. I've been saying that since the Charger game. I don't care if they beat Denver. They're supposed to beat Denver. I want to see what you guys look like at Dallas week 17 before I say you're legit contenders or not. If they go on the road to Dallas and they push Dallas around and they handle Dallas and they beat Dallas, and then come back home, they crush Minnesota the way they should in week 18, now I'll believe it. But as far as, I can't just ignore 3 straight bad performances and then see that you dominated a Denver team that was terrible at the line of scrimmage, 42-17. Now that just automatically says everything I saw going all the way back to the Baltimore Raven game. You know, this team still has its flaws and its ups and downs. So am I pleasantly surprised with what I saw Saturday? Hell yeah. But you're better than Minnesota. I don't care about Minnesota being a divisional opponent. You talking about Nick Mullins out there. You should beat Minnesota twice if you're a legit contender. Now, we can at least agree on that. If you're a legit contender, you should beat Minnesota twice. Now, if you lose a close game to Dallas or whatever, that's something different. But Minnesota shouldn't score one off of us at all.
Yeah, we got Ken, I was gonna say 2 minutes left. Remember, if Seattle loses this game, the Lions in the playoffs, technically. So, we want to see Philly win this game, even though we're trying to get that seed, that second seed too. But we
thanks, Ken.
Still kind of, thanks, Ken. Yep. Merry Christmas to you too. And it's almost like, yeah, Ken, right. I was just gonna say that. I love these situations, man. This is what football's all about to me. 2 minutes,
Yeah.
90 yards. I mean, and I almost feel like the Lions season gonna come down to that. You know what I'm saying? Well, think about it. Like, I can see this happening. I can see us in a second, let's say, for a trip to go to NFC Championship on the line. I could see the Lions having to go pull a John Elway. Remember, go against Cleveland, go 90 yards for a score.
Jared Elway.
Think about it. The commentator, they would love to set this up for Jared Goff, right? You could say 90 yards. Is Jared Goff going to lead this team to next NFC Championship game? Possible long-term contract, blah, blah, blah. Or will it be all for naught? That type of thing. You know what I'm saying? I can see it happening, or I can see it in lights right now. I can see it happening. And this was all about, you know what I mean? And then I think the line, what I do like is I do like when the Lions, I think we don't really talk about it that much, is I like the 2-minute drill. I do, because I think that Jared Goff, he can excel. Now, that's when the short passes work, in those situations, because you got the defense, you know what I'm saying, kind of gasping. They're kind of tired. They can't substitute like they want. Then I think that's where you can be effective. And then, bam, J-Mo can hit you for a long slant for a touchdown. Or, you can catch miscommunication or something like that and get a long touchdown or something like that, or some gash 30, a couple 30-yarders in there and run it in for a touchdown. So, yeah, I mean, if we had to put a bow on this whole show tonight, we talk about, the Lions being contenders. We went from struggling on defense to finding, we really find some, or was it all for naught? Well, do you think it was all like, okay, Russell Wilson is not the Seattle Seahawks Russell Wilson? You know what I'm saying? Is it a situation where, yeah, we caught this team, we caught Denver, oh man, almost interception. Did we catch Denver, like you said, at a good time where, they had peaked, you know what I'm saying, and we kind of knocked them off their
They
peg.
gas out.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't know what to make. I'm not gonna say. I think it was a good win. I think, because I think if they would have lost the game, I mean, this show would have been totally different. You know what I'm saying? If they would have lost the Broncos. So I'm not gonna crap on the win and say it wasn't important, or because it was.
It was good to see.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna say any win. I think, regardless of who's on, you got to play on your schedule. I always say that. Whether your schedule is crappy or not, you still got to play who's on your schedule. And, and I'd rather see them win like they did, instead of losing. And we back to 9-5, and we're not going to win the division, and all them, all that talk. So we got rid of all of that. And any Lions team in the past, if it was the same old team, they would have easily lost that game Saturday night. You know what I'm saying? And they would have it would have been a domino effect from the Green Bay game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad they got that off. I think somebody in the comments too, earlier in the show, they did say the Lions haven't lost 2 games in a row in about a year and a half. I think that's accurate. You know what I'm saying? And that's telling you something about the coaching staff too. You know what I'm saying? That they forget losses and real quick, and they get back, they get back to work, and they get back to, getting their confidence back. I think that's how you have to be. You got to put it in the rearview mirror as quick as possible. You know what I'm saying? So
I think that's also a testament to how important that Bears game was a couple weeks ago that we stole. Because let's be honest about it, I'm never going to apologize for winning the game. Granted, we only played 3 good minutes in that game with Bears before we snatched it at the end. But I think every championship caliber team has that type of game where you win a game that you have no damn business winning. They ain't have any business beating Chicago here a few weeks ago. but they did it.
Yep.
They did it. So, if they didn't do it, you're talking about losing 2 straight to Green Bay and Chicago. So you're not gonna always beat everybody the way you should beat them or the way fans feel like you should beat them. But this team is sitting here right now at 10-4, 3 games left. I think they're clearly better than Minnesota. I don't think there's any rational reason, unless injuries. A golf injury or an injury to another key player on defense or offense or whatever. But barring health, there's no reason why this team shouldn't win 12 games. They should beat Minnesota twice at least. Now, like I said, we have no idea what's going to happen night before New Year's Eve, that Saturday night at Dallas at Texas Stadium. Anything can happen. I don't want to get into officiating and all that stuff, but anything can happen. And you also talk about you also talking about come playoff time. How are these officials going to call these games? Because damn near every game on a weekly basis in the NFL season comes down to 3 or 4 questionable calls. And Detroit and Dallas. Is Detroit and Dallas even still possible?
And you mean in the playoff? Yeah, I think we could play.
Let's say Dallas lose to Miami this week. That'll put them at what, 10-5?
10-5, and then if we win 11-4, we leapfrog them and go to second.
And then we beat Dallas. And then that puts Dallas to 10-6.
Oh wow, he caught it. Oh, that's a good catch, DJ Metcalf.
That's what I was rooting for initially was that type of matchup anyway, Detroit and Dallas. But
yeah, it could be second round. You know what I'm saying? Second round matchup. But
all right, man, we done had these people for one tremendous night, man. It's always great doing one of these shows Monday night after a big time victory.
After a win.
Yeah. Yep. So we got the Minnesota Vikings coming up, those hated Minnesota Vikings with Nick Mullins at starting quarterback. There's no guarantee. I don't even think your boy playing, because he came back after missing damn near the entire season and got a chest injury. Justin Jefferson. So there's a good chance Jefferson might not be out there to torture us to 200 yards. No Kirk Cousins. They missing a lot of people on defense. They're playing a lot of young players on defense. So we will be back to talk about the Minnesota Vikings in a few days. But
hold on, man. Hold on.
Hey, what's going on?
Let's let the people celebrate. They went to playoffs, man. Hold on. Let's watch Drew Lock here.
Drew Lock.
Let's see. Drew Lock. Let's see what.
Well, where we at?
Because this is Lions Avenue. So listen, if Seattle lose, just so everybody know, the Lions will formally be in the playoffs, right? No matter what. Yeah. So we need Seattle to lose. Philly up 17-13, 30 seconds left going to the end zone. Wow, he caught it. Oh my God, what a play. What a play. Wow.
That's good old Drew Lock, boy.
Wow. And see, Philly, you know what, man? That's crazy.
Hey.
So the Lions.
My team feels a little late.
So the Lions technically not in the playoffs. So Seattle win this game, we ain't in yet. Wow, that was a great catch. That was a good throw. That was a
boy.
Yeah. That was a great throw right there. Look at that, Walt. Look, I mean, he's single coverage. I mean, he just ran right past Bradbury, ran past him. And did he have it? Yeah. Oh, you know what, too? That lost art. Them receivers be on point, man. Yeah, I agree, Ken. We may play the Seahawks again, Walt. We may play them again and at Ford Field. You know, that would be nuts. That would be bananas to play them again.
Man, I don't want to see that mess again.
I don't want to see Seattle again either. Seattle play like us. They play exactly like the Lions, I think. I think they got 2 running backs. Yeah, well, we could get the answer to Roy's question. I think number 2 is still in play because technically Philly and Dallas gonna have the same record if they lose, right? I think Dallas would. Yeah, Philly would be
We
10-4.
are
Lions 10-4.
if we finish tied with the same record with them, or even Frisco for that matter, it's gonna come down to conference record. We swept the NFC South. We swept the AFC West. We lost to an AFC team in Baltimore. We lost to Chicago. We lost to Green Bay, and we lost to Seattle. So we only got that's what 3 NFC losses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Philly has what? They lost to San Francisco.
Yeah.
They look like they about to lose Seattle just like us. That's a common opponent right here. Common opponent right there.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I can't believe that,
Oh, they
man.
lost
So
to
we
Jets
can't
too.
even. They can't. We still ain't in the playoffs. That Drew Lock, that darn Drew Lock, man. I can't
That's my
believe
guy. I
that.
be wanting to see Drew Lock succeed, man. We beat
Man,
the Vikings,
get out
man.
of here. Get out of here.
I like Lock, man. I ain't
Yeah.
like him tonight though.
Yeah, I like Kenneth Walker. I like in Jigba. I like Charbonnet. I kind of like Seattle. I do. I like the defense. I like the corners. That was a hell of a throw and catch. And I like Pete Carroll. I think Pete Carroll is probably. I mean, I think he's a Hall of Fame coach. You know what I'm saying? When it's all said and done, behind Belichick and Andy Reid and Pete Carroll, right there, man. You know what I'm saying? As coaches. So, yeah. So now, if you Seattle, is it a quarterback controversy now? You know what I'm saying? If you the Seahawks, you like hell. Hey, Drew Lock won this game for us, saved our playoff, saved our season. Do you think they stay with Drew Lock moving forward? Is Gino hurt though, right? Is that why he not playing? Gino was hurt, right?
But he dressed though. I mean, unless this was some gamesmanship on Pete Carroll's behalf, like we're not gonna let anybody know until the last seconds before kickoff. Gino was hurt, but that ain't saying much, man. Like Geno Smith, Geno's better than Drew Lock. Drew Lock has
I know that.
flashes in Denver. Lock just ain't consistent enough, you know.
Yeah, I know that.
But
it's just I was just saying, is it going to be a coverage?
I don't think so.
Out there, but
I think it'd be very ballsy for Carroll to go into the playoffs as if they make it. Going to the playoffs with Drew Lock.
That'll be the same guy. Remember that it's the same guy that put Russell Wilson. Hey, he said, Johnny Flynn, I don't see, may see Johnny Flynn, Matt Flynn. And he said, I don't see Matt Flynn. We paid him the money, but I'm letting Russell start. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So let's see.
Man.
Is that your boy?
Still a shot.
That's Julian Love. That's his second interception. He had 2 interceptions. Yeah. Wow.
That
was a good win for Seattle. That was a hell of a win right there. Hell of a win. Because now, like you said, Walt, now that was a big win for Seattle. They probably wouldn't have made the playoffs. They would have been out of it if they would have lost, because the Rams got the tiebreaker over Seattle. So, it was cool, man. Doing the last couple minutes of the show, I wanted to see that. So, we not in the playoffs, y'all. We ain't in yet. Seattle looked like they gonna win this game.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle could have did us a favor and beat them and put us in, but they kind of did us another favor because we still got a shot at a higher seed, you know?
Yeah. Because
now if the Giants could pull an upset against the Eagles, they got what? The Giants got the Eagles twice these last 3 weeks, right? Yeah.
Yep. Man, Walt, so look at this before we get off. What if we win next week? Eagles lose to Miami. I'm sorry. I keep saying the Eagles. Cowboys lose to Miami. We gonna be, dude. They gonna have to beat us to get that seed back. You know what I'm saying? To get a higher. You know what I'm saying? We could really kind of mess the Cowboys season up if they lose again. If they lose this week coming up, and if then we beat them, we could really like put a monkey wrench in their whole thing, their whole hookup. Then they would have to. Then that might guarantee us 2 playoff games at home. You know what I'm saying? They might, instead of 1, we might get 2 games at home if we win the first one.
Seattle's a rough place to play, man.
Man, it's tough. Seattle's tough, man. So, all right, man. Let's get up out of here.
All right, man. We'll see y'all this weekend. Getting ready for Vikings. It's Viking week, man. We got to talk a lot of trash about the Minnesota Vikings. But all right, let's get ready to go 11-4. Till next time.